up from where you at. I came here for vengeance, watch your back. No need to defend, I'm on attack. Sorry they can't reply, but I guarantee they had a blast. Pop, 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 I be on the next, so only I am fresh to death.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. We've got another solo podcast for you this time. I did not plan well and didn't have a guest this week, but I have a cool one coming on next week that I'm very excited for, so everyone be looking out for that. But I think what I want to do is the next couple of videos kind of have a connected thing here of one topic that each one of these kind of leads into the next one. So what I want to talk about is the prerequisites that it takes before you get on stage. So there are some pretty obvious ones here, and then there's some that I think people just don't put enough thought process into and kind of put no thought into before they start one of these things. So with the prep season about to commence, you know, the first two people that I have getting on stage is in 4 weeks, and a lot of the shows are going to be starting in the early summer months. So I wanted to go ahead and put this information out there because there's a lot of people who are getting interested in competing and maybe just don't have an idea of what it even takes and what you should be looking at in your life that will determine whether you should or should not compete. So the first one is financial stability. There are a lot of young people looking to go into bodybuilding right now, and they'll reach out about coaching and they're immediately turned off because of just the price of coaching. Now, I am not necessarily a cheap coach. There are coaches who are cheaper than I am, but if you're looking at hiring somebody to coach you for competing, and you're getting sticker shock off of just the monthly cost of coaching, you've got something coming, because what you need to understand is that competing is extremely expensive, right? Some of the things that we have to look at when it comes to the cost of competing is coaching. I don't think you should do a show without a coach. Sure, there are a lot of people who have done it. Most of them don't do it well. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to waste my time getting on stage. It's a very hard and difficult process, and I don't want to get on stage and embarrass myself, nor do I want to waste my time. So there's regular coaching. There's posing coaching, because you're posing, unless you are like just amazing at this and have a God-given talent to be able to move your body, you're probably not good at posing. And even if you do have that God-given talent, you probably need someone just to like look at things, just to make sure that you are putting yourself in the best position possible to show off your physique. There's trunks and suits. So for men, this stuff isn't that expensive. Usually it's less than like 70, 80 bucks, 100 at the most if you're doing something fancy with your suit, which it's not really a normal thing for bodybuilders to do. The females, those suits can be $500, $600, up to $1,000 for these suits, if not more. And then you also, as a female, have to think about the shoes that you wear on stage, the jewelry you wear on stage, your makeup and hair for the stage. Like, all those things have to be taken care of, and they all add up. So men, we don't have to deal with that stuff, but females, it's going to be even more expensive for you because of all those extras that you have to do. Paying for tanning, paying for travel. Even if it's a show that's like a couple hours from you, you still have to pay for the travel to get there. A hotel, and unless the show is literally a 20-minute drive from you, I always suggest people get a hotel that is adjacent to the venue, because the last thing you want to do is on the day of the show stress yourself out with having to figure out, like, all right, when do I need to leave to get there in time? How do I handle traffic? Did I bring all of my stuff? Like, it is much better if you just have a spot that you can go to, like you can literally walk to. So a hotel, the fees for the show, so the entry fees to even be able to compete, as along with your NPC card. You're going to have to pay for that. That you can't compete in the NPC without an NPC card. And usually that's the case with whatever federation you're going into. You have to pay the federation to be able to compete in their federation. Groceries, supplements, super supplements. Like when we look at all those things, that cost can add up very, very quickly. There have been many preps where I've spent $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Like if that number scares you, don't compete. Just get yourself in a good financial spot. First, work on, let me get to a financial position where I can afford a coach, and then spend the time paying for your coach so that they can learn your body, get enough tissue on you so that you're prepared for the show, and at the same time also building a little bit of a nest egg and putting some money to the side so that you can now pay for all the extra stuff. After financial stability, we look at mental stability. Are you even mentally ready to take on the sustained output of a contest prep? Most people don't even think about that. And a lot of times what I see people do is use prep as an escape from your troubles. And that is the worst thing you can do. Don't use prep as an escape, because the problem is you are just sweeping the problems under the rug. You're just kind of brushing them off. And when you are done, those problems are still going to be there, and they might be worse. So you can't just ignore it and hope that it's going to go away. Fix it now. Because going through prep, whether you're natural or enhanced, is extremely mentally taxing. Obviously, it's physically taxing. You have to train, you have to do cardio, you're going to be tired, those kinds of things. But the thing that ends up cracking everyone, 90 to 95% of the people crack because they can't handle the mental stress that is put on them from trying to prep. Plain and simple. Most of the time when somebody decides that they want to compete, they probably enjoy lifting. They probably at least like do cardio somewhat often and are used to the grind of going to the gym. But you add on top of it an aggressive deficit and the pressure of trying to do well at a show, and you are now setting yourself up for a position where you are going to be mentally stressed the fuck out. Plain and simple. And if you already have some like mental things that you know you need to deal with, prep is not the time to try and fix that. It just isn't, because it's not going to put you in the right mindset for you to be able to do what you need to do in order to get in the shape you need to get in. If your brain's not in the right spot, your body is not going to go there. Where your brain goes, your body follows. So if your brain's already in a shitty spot, you can guarantee your body is going to end up in a shitty spot too. Okay? So don't use it as an opportunity to escape and just bury problems, because it's going to make these things worse. It's going to make it grow. And when you come back, you're now facing a monster and you've got a big fucking problem on your hands. Third, we did financial stability, mental stability. Third, relationship stability. If you are in a relationship, or say you're not in a relationship and you are struggling with the people that you are around and dealing with a bunch of drama and stuff with those people, probably not your best time. But like friends in your circle set aside in this situation, if you are in a relationship and there is turmoil in that relationship, prep is not for you. Unless you're trying to end that relationship, prep is not the time for you to try and fix relationship problems. And if you are trying to end that relationship, just end it. Like just get it over with. Give yourself some time to get past the relationship and then go into the prep. But don't try to go into a prep dealing with relationship problems, hoping that it's going to get better. Because the thing is, it's going to get worse. With the amount of selfish time you have to spend, it is going to cause a bigger rift between you and your significant other, and that will 100% blow up in your face. I have seen it time and time again where somebody goes into a prep and the relationship is a little rocky, but it's like they're still making it work, and then they go into a prep and have to do all these selfish things, and then X number of weeks out from the show, I get a message that, hey, me and my girlfriend just broke up and I'm really not in a good way. I binge ate, I did whatever, right? That is a terrible option. trying to deal with a relationship ending, unless you weren't like connected to it at all or it was something that was very, very short, a relationship ending is going to be something that's going to throw you into a little bit of a tailspin, right? Like we're unless you're just completely an emotionless robot, you're going to struggle a little bit with that relationship ending, and trying to like mentally handle that relationship ending while doing all this other stuff that is extremely mentally taxing is not going to be the thing that is going to help you get the best physique possible. So, make sure that you solve those problems or end that relationship before you commit to, I want to do a show. Plain and simple. And on top of like you having to be selfish, you're going to be a little bit grumpy, especially like if you're once you're in a point where food is really low. And then if you're taking compounds, you're going to be irritable, right? Like I am case in point of someone who does not handle low food and compounds very well from a standpoint of like your mental attitude and like how you communicate with people. I'm not the best during that time. And to be completely blunt, I almost lost my current girlfriend because I was being a jackass in my last prep. 100%. And if that had happened, I'd be devastated. Like, I love that girl, and she is my best friend. Brittany, I love you. And if I had lost her because I was being a selfish, grumpy idiot, I would have kicked my own ass. Like I would have been in a bad way. And I don't know that I could have saved that. So the fact that like she stuck with me during that time tells you how much of a saint she is. But then second, it was also one of the main reasons why I was like, all right, look, I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia. I'm not going to make money off competing. So I probably need to step back from this, because if she's feeling that, then other people around me are feeling that. My son is feeling that. My friends are feeling that. My family is feeling that. And it's just not who I want to be, right? So fix your relationship problems before you decide, let me do a prep. These last two are incredibly important. I would say probably some of the most important. Like every single one of these points that I'm going through is important. But if these two things aren't in check, I would seriously consider not doing a show. These would be 100% don't do it. So the next one is blood work. Is your blood work clear? When you go get labs, is everything in check? Is your cholesterol okay? Is your liver and kidney okay? Is your thyroid in a good spot? Are your adrenals working well? Is your testosterone and estrogen in a good spot for females? Is your menstrual cycle in a good spot? If you are not in a good spot with any of those things, this is an immediate no-go from me, right? If I have a client that's going, hey, I want to compete and I want to do this show on this day, and I go, cool, let's get labs. Let's see how things look. And then they come back and there's red flags all over the place. I'm immediately telling them we're not doing that show. And you could potentially go to another coach and have them go, yeah, let's do it. But what are you sacrificing in order to do that? Like my client, Zach, we're doing a show at the end of the year. When he first came on, he was looking to do a show in the next like 12 to 16 weeks. We got labs, and I told him no go immediately because of some of the things that came back. And then we fixed those, and now he's in a much better position in order to get on stage. As a coach, I'm just not willing to damage someone's health just to get you on stage. Like that trophy and that praise that you get for a short period of time means absolutely nothing if we have ruined your health. And I am not going to be someone who has a reputation of damaging people just because we want some superficial thing of doing well at a show. At the same time as like just me as like my morals, I'm not going to do that. If your body's not healthy, it's not going to give us the response that we need. It is not going to do all the things I'm asking it to do if it is already in a disease state or whatever the case might be. Like if your liver and kidneys aren't working well, it's not going to do what we want it to. It's not like we can just take some milk thistle and cool, we're good to go. That's not how that works. We're going to have to spend time fixing these problems before we can do anything else, because if you're going into it not pushing yourself and already in a problem spot, and then we start to really push the envelope, you can bet your ass you are going to end up in a worse spot. It's not like it's going to get better when we start pushing you harder. That just doesn't make sense. And then the next one, I think a lot of people really need to be more realistic with themselves. Do you have enough muscle? Plain and simple. Now, there's two categories of people here, and with the popularity of bodybuilding rising, you're seeing a lot more people who just want to try competing. They're not looking to continue to do this all the time. They're not looking to like, oh, I want to get my pro card and go to the Mr. Olympia and whatever. But they see it as an opportunity to test themselves. And if that's you and you just want to do it just to say you did it, then cool, bang on and do your thing. But even those people who just want to try it still don't want to get on stage and look like shit. Like, I have yet to meet someone who's like, oh, I want to get on stage and I don't care about where I place. Like, you might say that, but deep down you go, well, I'd like to win. I'd like to do really well. I'd like to look really good up there. Like, no one wants to get on stage half naked or 3/4 naked and be embarrassed. You know, like, if you were going to present your physique, 90 to 95% of the people who even just want to try it want to also do well, right? And like I've talked about in the past, like, if your only metric of success is whether you got a trophy or not, then this probably isn't the sport for you, and you need to change your attitude on that. So, like, it's good that you're not like, oh, I'm so obsessed with winning that I have to do this or it's a complete ultimate fail for me. But at the same time, I don't know anyone who gets on stage just to be mediocre, right? So, like, you, if that's you and you just want to do it just to knock it off the bucket list, then knock yourself out, get it done. But if you're among that strong majority of people who wants to do well, you need to be realistic with yourself on whether or not you have enough muscle to make it worth the time and effort that prep takes, plain and simple. So if you are going about this on your own, you need to learn to be extremely objective with yourself, or you are going to end up embarrassing yourself. If you don't have enough muscle, you are not going to be able to get the right type of condition. Like, it's not going to come through well. Like, sure, you can get really lean, but you're going to end up looking super stringy. And like, just because you got really lean doesn't mean you're going to do well. It's not a low body fat competition. It is a muscle building competition. It is bodybuilding. The goal is to be muscular. So if you just get up there and you're just skin, bones, and no body fat and no muscle either, it's not going to be a good look for you. Like, good job getting shredded. That's awesome. And that is the first step in a really good direction for you. But I would say that, like, it's not worth the time and effort and putting your body through that stress if you don't have the muscle for it to be worth doing. So be very realistic with yourself, or hire someone who will be realistic with you and tell you, hey, look, it's not the time. We need to do X, Y, Z before we get on stage. And then give yourself the time to build the tissue that you need to be that good. You can't just expect that, like, it's going to happen in 5 or 6 months. You're going to, if you're really under muscled, it could be a year-long, 2-year-long, 3-year-long process before it's like, cool, let's pull the trigger and do a show. So just understand that, like, just because you got this itch and I want to get on stage doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up getting the physique that you want if you don't have enough muscle tissue. So I'm going to end that there because we're coming up on the 20-minute mark. I'm going to continue to do some stuff here that's kind of centered around people wanting to compete. So I will come up with a topic for the next one. Next week, I should be releasing 2 of these solo podcasts and 1 guest podcast, which I'm very excited for. I'm not going to tell y'all who it is yet, but I will wait and let y'all see once I drop it. But again, as always, I appreciate y'all watching all the way through. It does mean a lot. It does help out the channel a lot, and things are growing. So I do really appreciate the effort y'all are putting in. Thank you for the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, any of your thoughts on this situation as well. And I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good rest of your day.